Dopamine mainly increases during the chase of a reward, but there's actually two scenarios where dopamine spikes at the reward itself. Once you understand this, you will never get confused about dopamine spikes again. This is lesson number 3 of 20 neuroscience lessons on dopamine. The first scenario is when the reward is unexpected. Imagine you go to a random cafe to buy coffee. You have zero expectation. Once you take a sip from that coffee, it tastes amazing. So your dopamine spikes right when you drink that coffee at the reward itself. Now your brain learned that this cafe has great coffee. So the week after, you walk on the same street and you see the cafe sign. This time, your dopamine spikes when you see the sign at the queue. You go in and get the same coffee, and it turns out to taste exactly as expected. But this time, your dopamine doesn't spike when you drink the coffee. Why is that? Well, because dopamine's job was to motivate you to get the coffee, to get the reward, because it knows it's good. Scenario number 2 is when the reward is better than expected. Let's say that you go to the same cafe and order the same coffee and expect it to be as good as usual. But this time they got new coffee beans and the coffee turns out to taste way better than expected. So your dopamine spikes again when you drink the coffee. Why does this happen? Well, because your brain just discovered that this cafe is even better than expected. So this dopamine spikes helps you to refine future expectations and makes you more likely to come back again. So dopamine is also about learning. It's a way to teach our brain what is good, because if you don't learn what is good, well, we don't know what to get motivated by. And that's why in these cases, when something is better than expected or unexpectedly good, it spikes at the moment where we receive the reward to make the brain remember that this is good, we should come back to this. This follows the reward prediction error model, a fancy way of saying that your brain uses dopamine to track surprises and update its expectations. But what about motivation intensity? Because the dopamine spike alone doesn't determine how strongly motivated you feel. There is more to it, and we will break it down in the next neuroscience lesson, so follow to make sure you don't miss it.